The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Some of you are familiar. I'd like to dedicate this story and the chizuk that comes from it. Le'ilui nishmato. My cousin, his son, his name was Yaakov Yisrael ben Tamar Malka. And there's probably not a Jew on this planet who did not hear that name, who did not say prayers for that name, for a 5-year-old boy that was run over right outside of his own home. He was in a coma for months until he finally passed away. During the time that he was in the hospital decided that he needed to leave because he was no longer a patient that they could do anything for. So they needed to find a place, a home that would take that child. It was very hard. There wasn't anywhere local. The places that were available and could offer the care that he needed, which is very sophisticated, had no places. It was very difficult. They got a phone call from a woman. A woman said, I want to help. I want to help because I had a kid, I had a child just like that. I had to keep that kid in my house. So I know what you're going through. All the machines, all the difficulties, all of the suffering that you're going through. I know it. Let me help. She pushed and pushed and pushed. One place said no, the next place, until finally she thought she had something, she didn't have something, the place they promised, and they backed out. They thought they had a place, till finally she got so fed up that this family, that my cousin and his wife, was suffering, and they didn't have a place to put their child, and they were going to kick them out of the hospital. So she said, you know what? Bring your child to my house. I took care of my own kid in this house. I don't have the machines anymore, but I know how to run them. If we can get the machines to my house, let the hospital discharge Yaakov Yisrael ben Tamar Malka to my home. They worked feverishly. They had to source the right machines to figure out how to get them there. Every machine was finally delivered to her home. The hospital still would not let her take the child to her house, and they made her stay for a 24-hour shift in the hospital to show them, to prove that she knew exactly how to do everything that was needed to do for the child. And she did. And that was the night before the move was supposed to happen. They left the hospital, and in the morning, they got a phone call from this woman. And the woman said to Rafael and Tamar, I'm so sorry, you have to tell them yet again that we're canceling the transfer of your son. Your son cannot come to my home. And on the day of the transfer, they've already set everything in motion. What do you mean? And the woman says, I don't know how to tell this to you, but I myself am a patient and I'm unwell. And I've been waiting 7 years to be able to find a match. And they haven't found me one anywhere in the world. And last night, after I left the hospital, ready to take your son into my home, they called me to tell me that they have that match for me. I will ensure that someone takes your son into their homes. And she pushed from her hospital bed while she's getting the transplant. She's on the phone, and she managed to get him into a home. What do you give it? Nothing. What are you getting? Everything.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org